Okay, let's talk through all these golf events that you have coming up.
Gabby, I'm glad you asked. Got my calendar right here. July 17th at Red Run, and then July 31st, I have the American Golf Outing for the Cancer Society.
I also have the American Cancer Society golf outing on the 31st, and also I got yours on the 18th, buddy.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
Whoa, boys, these are a lot of events and golf outings.
Well, you want me to miss my own golf tournament?
Gabby, they're all great golf.
I mean, this is...
Hold on. I got this. Guys, I got this. Don't worry about it. Hold on a second.
He always...
Hey guys. How are ya? You guys are Randy Wise, right? Sir. The Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour.
Watch for the eye.
Stay tuned.
It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour. Some of the biggest names in Michigan sports. And some, well, not so much. Brought to you in part by Premier Security Solutions, Fairway Packing Company, and Swiss Insurance. Watch episodes at woodwardsports.com.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
God damn it.
Oh my
Good morning,
goodness.
everybody. Welcome to the most retarded show here on the Woodward Sports Network, live, woodwardsports.com. Adham, Beydoun, Jeff Iafrate, Gabrielle D. Phillips. You know what? There is one problem. And I actually wanted to start the show by really saying something really nice, actually. But I'm not. We're going to change it because of Lucas. So we're going to start off with Lucas. So, Lucas, if you don't mind, put the camera on you. This is what we call special ed in training. Okay? Give the guy a break. Hey, the audio broke yesterday because of him.
No.
And we were here up until 10 o'clock last night getting it fixed because of him. And he's going to take the blame even if it's not his fault.
I don't think that's how this works here.
Because today you're in special ed, and if I had a dunce hat, I would give it to you. Anyways.
You can say that, but as long as we know that might not be the case, I'm fine with it.
You know, it's most likely the case.
Can't verify
No,
it.
actually, I could verify.
We know the truth
Gabby,
inside of the building.
You want it, Gabby.
All right, so how I wanted to start the show. Alex, who is typically our technical director and video producer, unfortunately his father passed away a few days ago. And I just want to say that, we're all thinking about him and his family, praying for him. And we love him a ton. And I just can't imagine what he's going through. So I just want to give Alex some love before we get the show started today.
Absolutely.
And on to brighter things, right? Something positive. Monty Williams, introduced yesterday as the Detroit Pistons head coach, and it was something. He called it, quote, a true blessing. Talked about the money, which I thought was pretty funny. The players showed up, and the players, I saw an edge. I saw a little bit of confidence, a little bit of swagger, and I really, really, really enjoyed it. Overall, I mean, you want to talk about takeaways from the press conference? You got a good coach.
Mm-hmm.
You got a good coach, proven track record, and now it's on developing your young talent at a much more effective and quicker rate than how it was under the last 4 years of Dwayne Casey. Building the roster better And I wasn't here yesterday, so we didn't get to talk about the Nuggets, but I hope we look at the Nuggets as an example of how to win championships. But, there is a big but, if you look at the last if you look at the last 40 champions in NBA history, 50, outside of the 04 Pistons, every single one of them had a top 25 player of all time. Think about that. Outside of the 04 Pistons, every team that's won a championship, you want to go to recent years, LeBron, KD, Steph. You want to go back to Detroit in the 80s, Isaiah Thomas, Bird, Magic. You can go back. Jordan, Hakeem, Duncan, David Robinson, Kevin Garnett. You can keep going. All the championships, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant. Keep looking. They all have one of the all-time greats. And it makes winning a championship so much more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
It just does. So I look at this team now with Monty Williams. I think to myself, is Cade going to be a top 30 player in the NBA of all time? Jaden Ivey, who's it going to be? Because that's how you win championships. That's just a sad reality. But that doesn't mean you can't contend for one. And I think that's where we need to start. So how do you turn this team into a contender? How do you build around Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham the way you built around Nikola Jokic? Can they become an all-star backcourt? What's their ceiling? Who knows? We have confidence in them. We'll get to Cade Cunningham later on in the show. We got Kool-Aid joining us in the second hour. But overall, I was very happy. But happy with a pause. Because when we talk championships, outside of the going-to-work Pistons, every team for the last 40 years has had a top 25 player. That's tough.
And they're the exception. So, I mean, it's even though it was in Detroit, for the most part, you do need superstars. It's a superstar-driven league. And right now with the Pistons, you expect at least there's two guys that could potentially be top 25. Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey, I think, will be all-stars, especially with Monty. The hiring of Monty. You saw what he did in Phoenix, and I'm glad they brought up that to Monty at the press conference, asking him to compare the situations, and he's like, no, this is a completely different situation. To be honest, he even mentioned right off the bat, these guys respond back instantly when I text them. They look me in the eyes when I talk to them, and every single one of the players showed up to the press conference, except for Beydoun, because he's in Europe. Like, that means something. That's significant. So for Monty Williams, not only does he have the support of the fan base, he's got the support of every single player in that locker room. So again, it was awesome to hear him speak, him, Troy, and Tom Gores, and just kind of iron out the details of things that we didn't know. For example, why it took so long to hire Monty Williams. Well, his wife was diagnosed with breast cancer during the playoffs. So he didn't release that information, but Tom and Troy both understood that and were very patient with him and allowed him to handle his business, be with his family. And then when the time came for him to, them to talk negotiations, they waited patiently, and Monty respected that. So it seemed like at least the Troy Weaver and Monty Williams relationship, they go back all the way to OKC, and they go back a long time. But Tom Gores and Troy Weaver even mentioned this, his thoughtfulness. He used the words persistence, his thoughtfulness, because Tom was really the one. Although Troy was the one who called Monty right after he was fired, Tom was the one that consistently pursued him and pretty much said to Troy Weaver, "Listen, we can't let these players down. There's too many guys in that locker room that worked their ass off, and they wanted the best available coach, even though it did cost them a crap ton." And Monty even admitted, it's the money. It definitely was part of it.
Which we talked about. So having him address that, I think, was huge.
Refreshing.
He even said it. He was like, people don't talk about it.
Yeah, and I love that.
Talk about it. Everyone knows what you're making.
Yeah, he could have easily been like, "Oh, the money doesn't matter. It's more about the job at hand." Like, nah, dude.
I want to give Tom Gores a hug, though. Round of applause, obviously, and a ton of credit to Tom, but genuinely, I want to give him a hug. You want to talk about how you should operate when you achieve that level of success like Tom Gores has, and you're now operating a franchise. This isn't confirmed yet, but a rumor is, on top of all the money, Monty Williams not only has private jet access, but he has additional support in healthcare for his wife, specific to her needs.
Wow.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Like, that's how you treat your people. You don't hold back. When somebody's looking you in the face and they have value and they say, hey, I need this, you move heaven and earth to make it happen. And I love the fact that Tom Gores immediately saw it. He looked at the young roster and he said, look, it's been Dwayne Casey. Dwayne took one for the team. Whatever you guys want to say about him, I don't care. I'm not going to say anything bad. But the point is, I'm not going to replace Dwayne Casey with a Kevin Ali,
right,
or a Steven Silas, or one of these young, unproven coaches. I need a guy in here that's going to get me and this fan base where we want to be. All respect for Tom Gores this morning.
And I've been trying to echo that the last couple months because I've heard that from a lot of different people as well, like coming from Tom. I mean, Tom wants to win so bad, and he's willing to spend money to win. Like, that's something that I think people don't understand about Tom. If you want someone...
Do you blame them, though?
Who? Blame what?
Just
the fan base?
Fan base in general.
No, I don't blame the fan base.
Because,
because
owners typically say they want to win, and their actions don't match up
that.
the words, right?
Yeah.
Chris Illich says the Tigers are out of the rebuild. They lose 95 games. The ownership trust level in this town, especially with some of the teams, isn't in the greatest position. I think Tom Gores has elevated himself, you could argue, to the top right now.
Yeah, because his patience was running out. I mean, 4 consecutive seasons of being, having a top 5 pick or a top 10 pick, it's getting old, and Tom Gores knows that. So, again, like you alluded to already, and you explained thoroughly, after Dwayne Casey, you had to go get a home run. You had to go get the best available coach of the market, and Tom and Troy Weaver mentioned how there were disagreements between those two, and they had, yelling matches or arguments, small arguments. They didn't really mention too much of what it was. I'm curious what that was about. And I don't know if that was about Kevin Ali, if Troy wanted to hurry up the process and hire Kevin Ali, and Tom was more like, no, dude, we're waiting. We're waiting for Monty because it's worth it. I don't know what the disagreement was about, but that was interesting to hear that because, them, and then finally coming to a conclusion and going out and getting Monty.
I think it's a disagreement in philosophy. Again, you're not going to like when I say this, so I'll preface it by saying we both like Troy Weaver. We both think he's done a good job so far. Fair?
Mm-hmm. Fair.
Okay. Troy Weaver, and I would have done the same thing if I was Tom. Dude, with all love and respect, I do think you've turned around the roster. But I'm not trying to rebuild another 2-3 years, man.
Right.
Like, you need to stop acquiring young potential talent and start mixing in veterans that can do a job, role players that can show up consistently, and allow my young up-and-coming stars to become all-stars, to become potentially all-NBA level talent. I'm not going to let you go hire Kevin Ali, and maybe it works. No, fuck that. Monty Williams, proven track record. Took over I don't want to say a similar situation because Devin Booker was much more established when Monty took the job than Cade Cunningham, and he was much further along in his development, but very similar situations. Young, up-and-coming team, losing history. They haven't figured out how to win. I think it's a great job for Monty.
I think this is the first time, at least in quite some time, where you can confidently at this point at least have faith in what every Detroit franchise has, from a GM or a manager position to a head coach / manager in baseball. But same thing, AJ Hinch, Monty Williams, Dan Campbell, Derek Lalone, the confidence at least in those 4, I like it. GM, Brad Holmes, Steve Yzerman, Troy Weaver, and Scott Harris, you like those 4 as well. So I don't know what this means moving forward for the Tigers or the Pistons, but at least we can look and be like, you know what? I like what they got so far. All Detroit sports.
Good on Tom.
It's at least heading in the right direction.
Good on Tom opening the checkbook. Good on him taking care of Monty Williams. And not only giving him the space, but that security of, hey, you need something for the wife? Done.
Mm-hmm.
You need to take the jet, miss a road trip? No problem. I'm sure there are so many things involved. They found it very early, so she should be okay. But it's amazing news. But I love what Tom Gores is doing. That is what you want in ownership.
Absolutely.
And he did it all without it being shared publicly.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big thing, is that he's not going out there and saying all of this. Monty was the one that spoke up and brought this up. It's not him saying, well, look, this is the reason why we
Or they're
had
not
to wait
leaking it
so
to the
long.
public
This
to
is what
try
we're
and get
gonna do.
Monty's attention. No, it was all direct, private, nothing got out. Love it.
And Monty, he said he was very close to taking a year off, but what changed is Monty talked to a, I forgot who specifically he talked to, but it was a mentor of his. And the words the mentor used is, you're looking at that team like maybe you need them, like Detroit, like you could use Detroit, but in reality, I think Detroit needs you. You know, like that. And Monty thought about it. He's like, yeah, they need me a lot more than I need them. It's kind of a, it's a goes both ways.
I think it's both though,
because he's going back into coaching after getting fired from Phoenix, which probably shattered his confidence. Goes right back into a new situation, a situation in which ownership wanted him bad, Tom and Troy. So he's welcomed. He gets the money he wanted and then some. Like it made too much sense for Monty.
Let's take a break and continue with this because I want to bring up something about the job and why it makes sense for Monty coming up next. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Dispo.
Well, let me tell you, listening to Lucas mess up the audio, I think I have a place, and I agree. I think he went through Dispo yesterday.
Dumbass.
And he's still recovering. And I can tell you why you need to go to Dispo, because it's the best dispensary in all of Michigan. And you could join us and the Dispo family live at their Hazel Park location on June 23rd for Ermanni and Edwards and the Woodward heavyweights from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Come prepared as Dispo Dispensary takes your cannabis experience to new heights. Located at 634 West 9 Mile Road in Hazel Park, Michigan. See you there for Ermanni and Edwards with Maz and the Heavies live on June 23rd at Dispo Dispensary, your local cannabis plug.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper. Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here at WoodwardSports.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you're watching on the website, check out our clips and previous live shows, articles, and merchandise. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. And if you're listening wherever you listen to your podcast, download this episode and leave a 5-star review.
I love it. We were just talking about Monty Williams reacting to his press conference, and I want to continue with this. You brought up at the end his pastor talked to him in that, gave him some advice. Maybe Detroit needs you, and maybe you need them. And I do think it's a little bit of both. And why Detroit needs Monty Williams, I think we already discussed his pedigree, his coaching ability. That you become a real, legitimate basketball team day one. Why does Monty need Detroit? Well, obviously the news of his wife, not the easiest news to bear, but they're going to work it out and they're going to get through it together, and the Pistons are going to make it easy for them. That's number one. Number two, you just got fired from a really good job, a lot of talented players, and you feel some kind of way. So you don't get to that level without being competitive. And inside of him, he's asking himself, like, all right, I wait another year. What job's going to open up? When I can take that job, with that contract, with that security, with that kind of care for my wife, and I package it all together, and I have a young all-star potential backcourt with a rim runner and Jalen Duren who will run through walls for me, with a general manager that's well-respected, that I can have influence on who we should be bringing in and how to construct this basketball team into a potential contender and a winner. Maybe Monty needs that. Maybe Monty needs a new start and not just go to the Milwaukee job, or in a year, let's say Steve Kerr walks away, whatever job. Why not go to Detroit, where you don't have to worry about your roster getting totally broken apart midway into the year by going and acquiring Kevin Durant? Because that's not Detroit. We've never done that. You never, ever, 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 ever in your history have signed a free agent, bona fide Hall of Famer in his prime. Never. You've never traded for one. The biggest trade you've made at the deadline was Rasheed Wallace. And yes, a Hall of Famer, but, Rasheed's not Kevin Durant. It's not like you're getting a Kawhi Leonard even, where you're getting that type of and I'm not trying to disrespect Rasheed Wallace here, but I think you understand where I'm going with this. You're not a free agent, big market destination. I think that's good for Monty, and I think he wants that, especially after how he was done dirty, his roster torn apart, the depth gone, for a guy that was injured and barely showed up.
Right.
Those are my 2 cents on Monty. I think it's a great situation for him, Jeff. I do.
Yeah, and the words that he used, that Troy used, that Monty liked, was restore, not rebuild, because restore meaning restore something back to what it was already, and we know, at least in the early 2000s, Detroit was on the map, and Monty sees that. If you go to a contender, if you would have went to Milwaukee or went to Philadelphia, the difference is, yes, you would have a better team day one, but you're looking at contenders now that are firing head coaches even after winning a championship. Nick Nurse, Mike Budenholzer, even Monty making a finals and being fired. Sometimes having that type of pressure in a big market like Philly or like not Milwaukee in terms of a team, not market, but regardless, there's more expectations, there's more pressure. So for Monty, he gets to come to Detroit. He's got an 8-year contract at least, a lot of money, which, don't get me wrong, that's definitely the most intriguing part of it, but at least you have security, and you know you're going to be here for the long term. At least you have time to build this thing out. The roster, and Tom mentioned it quite a few times, Troy's done a great job turning this roster around. And not only that, Troy mentioned to Monty, I would put this locker room against any other team in the NBA. Like, in that statement, Monty said stuck with him as well, because it's not about just the young talent they have, it's who they have. Cade Cunningham, Jay Nivey, Jalen Duren, Isaiah Stewart, guys that, will do anything to win. And he mentioned and referenced Devin Booker when he told Monty when he got there, which is, Coach, I'll do anything you need me to do. And that's the words Monty wants to hear, and everybody on the Pistons is pretty much like that. So I think it's a perfect situation for both teams. Monty gets paid to take a job that not a lot of people wanted, at least proven head coaches. So you got the best coach on the market. Credit to Tom Gores for getting it done, and Troy Weaver. And for Monty Williams, now the work begins. The press
team
conference
showed
is over
up yesterday.
The draft's coming up. The offseason starts. It's time to improve the roster.
The team showed up yesterday.
The entire team, but Bogey, and because he's in Europe, it's not because he just said.
Well, he's getting his ass shipped up. I'm joking.
People are like, why didn't Bogey show up? He's in Europe. He didn't make it.
Well, again, you can sense the energy. Typically, in real life business, you don't ever truly have this effect unless you're. It can happen. I don't want to say it doesn't happen, but it doesn't happen often where you replace leadership and it energizes the whole building. Maybe at Fortune 500 companies, but even then, it's very limited. You don't have the effect that a coach in the NBA can, or a new general manager, or drafting a new quarterback in the NFL, or drafting the next Connor McDavid, whatever it is. That effect typically doesn't happen in real life, but for the Pistons, they all show up yesterday, except Bogey, obviously. And you're sitting there, and Monty Williams even acknowledges it and says, I'm so grateful to all of you guys for being here. And I'm grateful to have dogs like you. And you know what? Stop it right there. What's Detroit? Blue collar, hardworking. We all know the history of the city. We know what the bad boy Pistons were. We know what the going to work Pistons were. And you have to recapture somewhat of that identity. What is Denver? Methodical, in the middle of nowhere in the country, 46-year drought, I believe. Get the first championship. How? Obviously, they drafted a star or two. But they built a good roster and were patient with their coach and allowed it to develop while seeing progress in the win totals.
Right.
Getting to the first, second, semifinals, finals of the conference, and eventually the NBA finals. Detroit, what's your history? Well, it wasn't a good one before Isaiah Thomas showed up. And then you finally won. And it was 3 consecutive finals in a row. You won 2 of them. Then you get to the bad boy Pistons. And you, again, Larry Brown, right? Chuck Daly, respected men. Attitude, Ben Wallace. Defense, Tayshaun Prince, Dennis Rodman back in the day, Joe Dumars, Isaiah Thomas's will, his commitment to the game. That's what you want to capture. I'm not saying you play like it used to be played in the 80s.
Right.
But you got to find something to hold on to. Your Golden State, what is Golden State? Golden State is San Francisco Oakland. It's in California, basically. Tech, super smart, innovative, and that's what they were. They took the identity of their state, their city, their people. Even though you can't say that anymore in California, but that's a whole different story. Look at Miami. Miami is a bit of an exception given the city culture, but even when LeBron was here, they did have that attitude, that swagger, and obviously Pat Riley's a huge part in all of it.
Yeah,
so
and Eric
maybe
Spoelstra.
that is the exception with how Pat's run the team for so long. But yes, Eric Spoelstra as well. You gotta build an identity, and it starts with the coach. It starts with ownership, allowing that coach to build it, not sitting there 4 years, not getting any better on and off the court, and saying, yeah, we're making progress. No, we're not. And Tom Gord's identified it, and here they are. I'm very happy this morning, Jeff.
Oh, it's great news. And I want to get to a comment that I missed. Greg says, the Raptors did not have a top 25 all-time when they won.
Kawhi Leonard will be remembered as a top 30, 25 player.
Regardless, yeah, that
whether I like it or not. I just, how? Two-time champion, two-time finals MVP.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, he's definitely top 25. But regardless.
You want to put him at 30, be my guest, fine. Nobody has won a chip without a top 40 player in the NBA fucking history in the last 40 years. Does that make you feel better? Since you want to talk about Kawhi Leonard, be my guest. Dirk Nowitzki's definitely top 30. And honestly, so is Kawhi. A lot of people are going to rank him in the top 30, whether I like it or not. Whether I think he's injury prone or not, doesn't matter. Two-time champion, two-time finals MVP. Beat LeBron in the final.
He did.
Beat the Golden State Warriors in the final. He just did. Can't take that away.
And by the way, too, with Monty and Terry, talked about this yesterday, went on Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. And although I have uber confidence in Monty Williams and what he can do, he is coaching a very young team with some veterans as well. So his job is a little different than Larry Brown's job. When Larry Brown got there with the Pistons, he was coaching adults until Darko got there, which essentially he didn't even matter anyway. But for this job specifically, it's a tough task for Monty. But again, he did this in Phoenix, and he did it with a young roster as well. But that's the other half of that is Troy getting talent. So I'm excited. The summer's going to be busy, and the draft's coming up in a couple weeks here, or about a week or so. It's time to work.
I love it. I love it. Let's take a break. When we get back, what type of season can we expect from Cade Cunningham? You brought up Devin Booker. Let's talk Cade. This is your number one overall pick. This is your guy. What do you expect out of Cade? And is he that dude? I want to get that answer from you next, but before we go, I've been delaying my haircut, as you can tell, and I don't care. But when I do go, and I don't know when, but when I do, I'm going to Lady Jane's. Haircuts for men, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week, walk in anytime. No appointment necessary. They're excellent stylists, will take care of you like they always take care of me. So, what are you waiting for? Get to a local Lady Jane's near you. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zaniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here at WoodwardSports.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to check out all of our social media at Woodward Sports, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. You can find us everywhere for updates, scores, news, behind the scenes of The Office, great clips from all of our shows. Check us out and download this episode and leave a 5-star review.
I gotta say, we gotta do a challenge here where we all dress up as each other one day. Honestly, that would be fun. Jeff dresses up like Gabby.
Why?
You could pull it off.
Why
Give me a thumbs up when we're good. Jesus Christ. I'm telling you. This kid is the problem. And nobody wants to acknowledge it. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? We're back. And Jeff, I'm going to ask you, what type of season do you expect from Cade Cunningham?
So, well, for starters, Cade Cunningham last season in 12 games, he put up 26-6 on one leg. So we'll just start there. He's 100% healthy. He's bigger, stronger, and hopefully on top of that, his shot looks a lot better because that's something that he's been working on also in the offseason. So if I'm getting a healthier, better, stronger Cade, then I think this year, at least the game's already slowed down enough for him. I mean, he's had success in the league even in March, his rookie year. So I'm not worried about that. This season with Ivy is the question. How does he work with Ivy? Him and Ivy playing together for a full season. That's the first question I have. Do we have audio?
Yeah. Keep
Okay.
talking. What's wrong with you?
Jeez, I have PTSD. Gee, okay. Anyway. That's the question I have. Is Ivy and Cade on the court together? Because last year, even in the small sample size, they looked damn good. But Ivy also wasn't the player he was at the end of last season. That was early rookie season Ivy. So it's a very different Ivy. I'm curious, number one, how they play together. How does that dynamic work with Monty Williams? And number two, with Cade Cunningham, can he stay healthy for an entire season now with his new look? I mean, he's a lot stronger. He's in better shape. If you see photos of Cade Cunningham, man looks buff. So I'm curious, number one, if he could stay healthy, but number two, him with Ivy, because I'm telling you right now, those two on the court together, it can't always be double Cade, defensively have all the attention on Cade, because if you have Ivy playing the way he played at the end of last season, you have two legitimate threats in your backcourt on a night-to-night basis. So more than just Cade this season, Cade's probably the player I'm worried least about. I know he's going to be okay. I know he's going to give me at least 22-6 and 6 at the very minimum. But the question is, how does him and Ivy play together? And does it help or hurt him, especially with Ivy taking the steps he's taking? So that's really the biggest question, those two together.
What do I expect from Cade? I'll give you a stat line. I'm going to go 23, 6 and 7. We'll start there, okay? He can probably do 23, 8 and 8, but I'm just going to go to baseline number, okay? Mm-hmm. What I want to see from Cade, I want to see him make his teammates better on a more consistent basis, which we saw evidence of, but again, he needs to play. He needs to hit the three ball. He's got to shoot better. He just does.
Yeah.
Him and Ivy, we always talk about spacing, bringing in role players, adding guys that can shoot, ready shooters. That's great. I need Jaden Ivey and Cade to take a step forward this year in shooting a three ball. It's a three-point shooting league. Hell, Nikola Jokic is fucking shooting 38% from three in the playoffs.
You got to shoot 35%.
You got to be able to hit a shot.
Yeah.
You have to. Even Jimmy Butler, damn it, was hitting threes, and he typically never takes them. It's a shooter's league. It's where it's going. Learn how to hit the three ball at an effective 35 to 38% rate. If they can get there, they're going to be very good 25-plus point scorers in the NBA. They, as in Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham, but we'll stay on Cade for now. Defense, I can expect,
he's already...
I'm not going to say all-NBA level yet, but he's going to be one of the better defenders at his position in 2-3 years.
Yeah,
I expect him to get better there.
He's already a solid defender, but now he's much stronger, so we'll see how that affects him.
His health is everything at this point. It really is. It just is. If he can stay out there, I think you're going to have a very good season. I think people are going to love watching this team. And it does start with Cade. And not just because he's the number one overall pick, but you saw what he could do last year. That was 27-7 effortlessly.
Yeah.
It was 27-7, and you could do nothing about it.
And although Monty mentioned that this team, it's a completely different team than what he had in Phoenix, the dynamic between Ivy and Cade, I can see it being a similar dynamic with Chris Paul and Devin Booker. Not saying they're exactly those players at all. I mean, if you want to bring up the mid-range, at least Cade loves the mid-range, so there's a fit there. But more than that, because they're not Chris Paul or Devin Booker, and I think they could be better, the dynamic, the way those two took turns playing games. It was Chris, bringing up the ball, Devin Booker bringing up the ball. Those two would take turns, and I think that's how it's going to be with Cade and Jaden Ivey. But again, Jaden Ivey's much more athletic, and Cade's bigger. And again, if they could both shoot 35% from three and they can get better, Ivey showed a lot from three his rookie year. But as time goes on, if those guys are consistent and on a night-to-night basis, they're above average, pretty good defenders, which I think both of them have the potential to be. That's an impressive backcourt right there. Two guys that can lock up for a possession if you need them to, and two dynamic players on offense. They're going to cause some problems, especially when they start hitting their prime, no doubt.
Fair enough. I'm excited. It's going to be a good year for the Pistons. Let's pivot off of Cade. Free agency. We've gone through the names, and I honestly don't even want to spend time on free agency, but I want us to look past it, but acknowledge it. You're going to want to bring in some vets. Team's way too young. But give me Jeff's player. Who's going to be the most improved player under Monty Williams? And I'm hoping it's not the answer I've been subjected to on social media. So, Jeff, I would like for you to say a specific player. Where's the number 0? It's my preference.
Yeah.
If you want to if you want to say it's somebody who wears the number 7 and he likes croissants and he likes to sip shots of espressos.
What? What did you just say?
What?
He likes what?
You know what? Mind your business.
Can you say that word again?
Nope, not saying it again. Did I mess it up?
Did you just try to say croissants?
It's like croissants.
I think that's saying it wrong.
I don't know. I don't think the way that
I
you
said it the
was
French
right.
way.
Okay. Well, you don't have to worry about croissants because
You're saying it wrong too, jackass. Why did we do this?
Okay, because I'm not French, so I don't care. But Killian Hayes, I as much as I think Killian Hayes and the skill set he brings, I guess without scoring the basketball, because you got to watch with that, because he's shown a little bit of it, but I can't say flat out he'll do it this year. But everything else, I think Monty's going to like a lot. But my most improved player, it's not Killian Hayes. I'm going to go Jalen Duren, because I think this year with Jalen Duren, not only I think he'll start, but the way Monty tried to use DeAndre Ayton, or did use him, because him and DeAndre Ayton's relationship wasn't the best. I think he's going to absolutely love Duren and love his mentality, love what he brings to the table, love his what he's gifted with athletically. So there's a lot to like about Duren, and again, I think there's a lot of untapped potential with his jump shot and what he can do, because again, you saw him hit a couple mid-range shots last year, but I think there's more to it for Jalen Duren. So the obvious answer would be Cade. Obviously Cade, but regardless, I don't care who the coach is, Cade was going to get better regardless. Jaden Ivey, I think the same thing. And of course, those two are going to flourish under Monty, but Jalen Duren is the guy that I think will take the most significant jump from year 1 to year 2. I can see him being this year a 14, 15, and 10 guy.
I love that.
So, yeah.
Music to my ears.
Yeah.
Music to my ears. I 100% agree with you. But let's talk about the stepchild nobody wants to acknowledge, or at least I don't, which is Killian Hayes. Okay? Monty Williams, known for being the guard whisperer. Somebody that is going to make a lot of players better on this team. But Killian Hayes, look, Jeff, I don't got a problem with Killian Hayes. I really don't. I don't even give him shit about being the number 7 overall pick. I don't. I don't even care anymore. It's irrelevant for me. What I see is not the number 7 overall pick. I see a guy that turns the ball over just over 2 times a game in his career, averages 8 points, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds. Okay? This is a guy that shoots 37% from the field and 27% from 3. That's what I see. And if you're going to tell me that he's going to take a significant jump forward, okay, I would just ask why. Is it just because of Monty? Because if Hayes is going to take that much of a step forward, hell, I expect Cade to drop 30 a night. And Ivy to drop 26. And both of them shoot 70% from the field if he's going to make that kind of fucking jump. So I want you to explain to me, because I know everybody thinks I hate Killian Hayes. I don't. I hate his game. I think he sucks. But you're not allowed to say that, because he could be something. And he shows flashes. Why are we so naive? You guys give me the data on how he's going to take a 10-point jump in shooting percentage and in three-point percentage to where you would consider keeping him. How is he going to jump from 37% from the field to 45, 46%? And how is he going to jump from 27% from 3 to 35, 36, 37% from 3? You guys give me that number.
Well, I'll tell you.
Give me it.
So, Cameron Payne on the Phoenix Suns, you know what he shot before he got to Phoenix? From the field?
From the field, I'd go 38, 39%.
He was 40%, roughly, for that average.
Okay.
He came to Phoenix under Monty Williams. These are the last 4 seasons with Phoenix. 48%, 48%, 40%, 42%. So he was always above 40%.
Who was Cameron Payne on before? Brooklyn?
He was on multiple teams. He was all around the league.
So he was a journeyman.
And then he got to Phoenix and was an actual solid backup guard who averaged 10 points off the bench and shot over 40%. And from 3 specifically, he shot mid-30s.
What about
he shot
before,
30
before Phoenix?
All 30s. 30% roughly.
Okay, so
he got better under Monty.
He got better, but he was never this bad.
Well, I mean, if you want to bring up campaign, we can go through. I mean, he averaged 5 points through a 5-year stretch, 5 points a game.
Okay.
So
when was he drafted?
He was drafted. I don't even know if he
was he a lottery pick?
He was a first-round pick, actually. Yeah,
what
14th overall.
14th?
Yeah. He flamed out in OKC, and then he ended up finding when he got to Phoenix, he was Monty loved him.
Okay, that's great. But he developed in 6 years. I'm gonna wait 6 years.
No,
for
I'm not.
This guy to develop.
But what I'm saying is, for Killian Hayes, he's much more physically gifted than Campaign. I mean, Campaign's 6'1". What?
That's great.
$183. I mean,
okay, you know what? I'm being mean. Actually, no, I'm being an ass. Okay, let me go along with this. Fine. He develops a better jump shot. He's more consistent. Maybe there's a switch. That flips in his head where Monty helps him understand that he should be attacking the basket much more often than he already does.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe great. Back to the basic fundamentals of basketball. Cade Cunningham's on the court.
Yes.
And Killian Hayes is on the court. If Killian Hayes has the ball, who are his outlet options? What happens when he has the ball? Okay, wait, let's play the reverse role. What happens when Hayes and Cunningham or Hayes and Ivy are on the court together and the other has the ball, meaning Cade or Ivy? What's Killian Hayes doing if he's not controlling the offense? If you want to bring him off the bench and he controls the second unit like a Cameron Payne, I can get behind it. But that's not the conversation we're having here. Mm-hmm. The conversation we're having with Killian Hayes is he can still be a very good player in the NBA, and I just don't see it. He can be a good role player, maybe.
And whoever's saying he could be, I mean, I don't know who said it.
You're adept with this. I mean, you know what happens on Pistons Twitter space.
Well, if you think Killian Hayes can be an all-star, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. But I think Killian Hayes can be a solid backup point guard or two guard. The problem is, and I mentioned this, James Edwards mentioned this, and he's so right about it, Killian Hayes has to be able to do one of two things at an NBA level: shoot threes or drive to the basket.
Which he does neither.
He does neither at an NBA level. He's pretty bad at doing either. But now, defensively, he's solid. We talk about this all the time. He can play his playmaking ability, but to actually play significant minutes, you got to be able to do one of those two things.
How do you put him on the court?
Campaign did that in Phoenix.
That's great. How do I put Killian Hayes on the court in the 10 to 12 minutes that, let's say, Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham are not on the court? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they're both not on the court, I don't mind him. I think he can facilitate. But he can't shoot.
Oh, he can't be
and he can't attack the basket.
No.
So, again, what am I asking for? Am I asking him to come off as a 7th, 8th guy, dictate the tempo, pass the ball, make sure it's moving, and play good defense? I don't mind that. I'm not going to hate on Killian Hayes. But you guys tell me or show me, give me the roadmap for how he's going to turn into this very good NBA player. And not even very good, just good. He shoots 27% in his career from 3.
Yeah, it starts there.
You don't just magically wake up and learn how to hit 3-point shots. It takes a ton of work in the offseason. Is he working? Is he actually committed to learning how to hit a fucking jump shot? I don't know. I just come across as a Killian Hayes hater.
No, I mean, it's realistic.
And I'm trying not to.
No, it's real.
I get frustrated with the player. Yes. And I don't even want to bring up where he was drafted.
No, because it doesn't matter at this point.
I don't, because it pisses me off.
Yeah, well, you're just realistic. He has to be able to, at least if you're going to play with Cade and Ivy, you got to be able to play off ball and hit three-point shots. You have to. And he can't shoot 30% from 3. You got to be at least a 30-ish% three-point shooter. At least Isaiah Stewart was able to do that his first year shooting the ball. So I got faith in Killian, but again, we'll see. If Monty can't fix him, nobody can.
All right, let's take a break. When we get back, let's talk about Nikola Jokic. Actually, no, we're going to take a break from NBA. Let's pivot. Let's pivot to the Lions. Let's get to the Lions. Their mini camp's over. Everybody's on vacation. I want to touch on the Lions, go around the NFL, and then to get to Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets winning their first championship at the top of the hour. 9:30 coming up. We got Kool-Aid. We'll get to running backs later on. Are they undervalued? What's going on in the NFL? A lot of very good running backs speaking out against the current situation. We'll get to that. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at Guardian Alarm.
Let me tell you about them. Our friends over at Guardian Alarm. It's a new year, and also Guardian Alarm has customized solutions from your experts to offer you 24/7 professional monitoring, technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's not only been proven to work, but by people that have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT for more information.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
For Detroit, by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Good morning, everybody. We're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com. JB, were we hot?
No, I
Thank
served
God.
you on a second later.
Thank God.
I didn't know what you were going to say.
That was
so
a
I
strong
like,
ending there. One of these days, JB's just going to be like, you know what, I'm going to show up to work today and just leave Adam's mic unmuted during the break and let's see what happens. Get canceled within 24 hours. Anyways. Oh, God.
Oh, that's funny. Kara song.
I was going to, I looked at the chat because I'm like, wait, are we good? Okay. All
right. This is gonna be a fun show.
Oh, it's been a blast.
Maybe you should have had a croissant. You ready for today?
All right, Gabby.
Croissant.
All right. You know, has anybody ever thrown a coffee at you?
No, not a coffee.
Today might be the first day.
I've had other beverages thrown at me, but
Really?
not coffee.
Oh well, the Carolina game that doesn't count. You're a kid.
No, it wasn't.
As
even
an adult.
As an adult.
Really?
In college, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Party with the wrong girls? Oh, you were weren't you what do they call a sorority sister?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, so you probably threw drinks at people too, just as much as you got them. Just admit
I
it.
only poured one drink on somebody.
And it was because?
And because he was
Oh, it was a he.
very not nice boy.
Ah, look at Gabby.
Yep. So I dumped a beer on his head.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Good for you.
Thank you.
I love it. Bring up that breakfast item again. We're going to have beef.
Carousel.
I'm not saying it. I will never use that word ever again in my life.
I have to go back and listen to exactly
I don't even want to go back. Anyways.
Gabby be getting in those reality TV fights. Haha. I didn't throw. I
You'd
didn't
be
flip
great
any
for reality
tables.
TV, by the way. Hashtag
I
love.
have been.
That's going to stay an inside joke between us for the next, few years.
I have been approached, though, about reality TV. And I've just said no. I just don't know, what good can come of it.
I don't think...
Nowadays, just no good comes of it. No good.
We should do a reality TV of Woodward Sports and what a disaster it is behind the scenes.
That I would watch. That
Be great.
I do think, we've talked about the concept before of doing, confessionals in Studio B, because I don't know, I just think it'd be so freaking funny, the confessionals that they do in reality TV.
We
but,
should
throughout
hire.
The day.
We should just hire. What do they call him? The priest or the person you confess to?
No, not like that.
Oh, what the hell are you talking about?
So in reality television, it continues with the plot, and then
and they all just give
cut
their
to
takes?
this person literally just talking to the camera and explaining how they're feeling about something or explaining what happened. Let's say the Bachelorette, that she got in a fight with somebody, and then she goes into the room and she was like, "I'm not sorry. She's still a bitch. I don't like her anyways."
I like
So
this.
they express how they're actually feeling just in a room.
Cut to
with
my
the camera.
Let's do reality TV a little bit.
Oh God.
All right. So I do a show with this guy named Jeff. Total bitch. diva, eats eggs in the morning, yells at the staff to get him scrambled eggs, a side of bacon, and a small coffee because he doesn't like to drink the full because he shits his brains out if he drinks a full coffee. Can't stand the guy. Don't like working with him. But anyways, back to the show.
And then it just shows us talking, having fun. Hey, what up, Adam? How you doing?
Oh, God.
What were you talking about in there?
Oh, God. No, nothing. None of your business.
All right.
None of your business.
Cool.
You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about it. All right. Let's talk about the lines for a little bit. You and Flannel Sam pissed me off yesterday with your Chase Young conversation. So you explain to me your side of the Chase Young debate, whether or not you would encourage it or you think it should happen.
Okay.
Walk me through it. I don't care about the draft capital. You tell me why adding a good football player who is injury prone is a good or bad idea.
Well, this is what I struggle with is, will Brad do it? I don't think so. I don't think this is a move that Brad Holmes would do, even though I'm in full support of it. And for Chase Young, the money he's owed a couple $1 million in the last year of his contract. And if you trade for Chase Young, this is the lowest price he's going to be asking for. The Commanders will be. He's got 1 year left on his deal. He hasn't, he had the last 2 seasons, he's been injured. Had an amazing rookie year and one defensive rookie of the year. But since then, hasn't been able to stay healthy. So if you bring in Chase Young into this defensive line rotation, there's plenty of depth already, but you can't argue with me. Chase Young, if he comes on the Lions, on this defensive line, he's one of your better edge rushers day one. Day one. The only question I have about Chase is staying healthy. That's it. But imagine what Chase Young would do to this defense immediately if he's healthy. We talk about the secondary and how revamped that looks. That defensive line, as much as I like a lot of the pieces, you still have a couple question marks about at least the guys that are going to be able to stop the run. Aleem McNeil, obviously, Benito Jones, Bugs, and now you drafted Broderick Martin. Chase Young is solid against the run. He's an every down edge rusher. You can play him and rely on him in any situation. So him and Aiden in Houston, Aleem, all these guys, Josh Pascal, what they would all do together on top of that secondary, it's very intriguing. So good luck doubling Aiden when you got Chase Young on the other side. And I know James Houston is great, but Chase Young can play every down.
Young's a 1 year rental, correct?
He is a 1 year rental. Now, would you be able to afford him if he absolutely has an amazing season?
No, I don't care.
Who cares? It'll probably cost a third or fourth round pick.
Oh man, me and you are on the same page, baby.
It's to me, there's not a lot of risk because a third or fourth round pick. If I say, well, that could be Kirby or Amon-Ra St. Brown, true, but you're at the point now where the NFC's wide open. Go get a Chase Young.
What if Chase Young is the difference between making it out of the wild card round and potentially getting out of the divisional round and making an NFC championship game? Is that worth a third or fourth round pick?
Oh,
to me it is.
Yeah.
And that very well could be the difference. Chase Young, when he's healthy, is one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. We've seen this. When healthy is the biggest problem. Get rid of that, by the way. That might be causing issues. So close it. Fuck him. Just won't talk to him. I love you, JB. I'm sorry. I love the hat, by the way. You look great. But to me, that's worth it. There's no risk.
Right.
Chase Young is looking to get to a team where he can showcase his skills, get after the quarterback, and earn a big payday. Come to Detroit. Because we'll surround you with Aiden Hutchinson, who can play on not only the edge, but line up on the interior if we want to get creative with our sets. Aleem McNeil. Oh, our secondary that we totally upgraded with Cameron Sutton and C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And Emmanuel Mosley. Oh, and add Tracy Walker and Kirby Joseph in the secondary. Oh, and our second-round pick, Brian Branch. May I entertain you in that? Oh, and we added a linebacker because God knows we're slow and we can't pass cover. So now I add all these pieces to make you, the edge rusher, look better. Oh, this is a great spot for you, Chase. And again, if it's not a third or fourth round pick and it's more than that, no problem. Just say no.
Right.
I'm not advocating for you to sell the farm for the guy. It's a 1 year rental. And if I have to pay a third or fourth round pick, I'm game. I see no issue with it at all. You brought up, will Brad do it? Semantics at that point. I mean, he really has never done something like this. But I think you have to look at the roster and say, Josh Pascal, what am I going to get out of him this year?
Right.
And am I willing to potentially hurt his development by bringing in Chase Young and taking away those snaps? Am I willing to make James Houston take a back seat? And if Chase Young gets hurt because he's injury prone, well, then these guys are going to play and everything will be just as is. So
yeah.
I don't see the risk here.
You can never have enough defensive line depth.
I agree with that.
Like San Francisco, Philadelphia, the two top teams in the NFC, defensive line depth. They have it all over the place. And that's why the Lions right now, great secondary on paper, pretty good defensive line, young defensive line, but adding a talent like Chase Young into the mix, it's only going to make everybody else a lot better. So I'm all for it. I know we're in lockstep here. The question is, how much does it cost? And the question is, Brad willing to do it, or will he do it? This is now, since the start of Brad's tenure till now, it's time to start making those types of moves. Well, like the window's open.
At what cost do you think Brad Holmes would do it?
I'd say a fourth.
I asked you this yesterday. Fourth?
Yeah, I'd say a fourth. He would probably do it, but again, I don't have Chase Young's medical in front of me. Like, to me, it's wild that Washington is even considering it.
And they declined his fifth-year option.
So, like, maybe there is something more to his medical where he's an untouchable player.
Mm-hmm.
Those knee surgeries, that's a big deal. Maybe he hasn't recovered. Maybe they discovered something that'll prevent him from being a long-term solution in the NFL. Maybe. I don't know. I would say a fourth. Brad would do it. But, again, does he want to touch that defensive line? Does he want to touch specifically the edges? Because you have Pascal, James Houston, Aiden. I mean,
Romeo
it goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
And he didn't address it in the draft. He didn't touch it in free agency. And I don't expect him to really do it. I don't. But I think a fourth. You pick up the phone unless his medical is really bad. But we'll take a break. When we get back, top of the hour, Nikola Jokic leading the Denver Nuggets to their first NBA championship. What parallels can you draw with the Nuggets and how they built their roster, with the Pistons, their history, what's moving forward? And again, guys, do I have to wait to call him an all-time great? I asked you guys this before they clinched it in Game 5. Jeff, you agreed with me and said no, but for semantic reasons, you have to. Right. Well, he's got the fucking championship now. Now what? We'll get to that next, but before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Big Boy.
Let me tell you about him, guys. Big Boy. Try classic breakfast items from Big Boy, like some strawberry hotcakes or mouth-watering red velvet waffles. But if you're not feeling breakfast, you can try the strawberry bacon chicken wrap or cool off with the refreshing summer splash salad. They got dessert as well. Their berry delicious classic strawberry pie, deep-fried vanilla Oreos, or strawberry hot fudge cake, and more at Big Boy.
How would you like to win not one, but two vehicles of your choice? One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Get to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win. Courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today. Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Back here on the Morning Woodward Show, live, woodwardsports.com. Adham, Beydoun, Jeff, Iafrate, Gabrielle D. Phillips, JB in the house. Luke is doing an excellent job, outside of the audio. An excellent job this morning. Thank you, buddy. Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic, Finals MVP, NBA champion, two-time MVP now, and is a unicorn at his position. No center has ever done what Nikola Jokic is doing. And before we get to how many championships they can win, is it a potential dynasty? Nikola Jokic is already one of the 30 greatest NBA players of all time.
Oh, yeah. He might. I think he's top maybe 20.
And you want to go to centers.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to hate me for this, and you're going to call me a prisoner of the moment.
Don't do it.
I don't rank Wilt or Bill. I can't do it. I always leave them. That's my qualifier. I don't have Wilt or Bill Russell in my top 5, 10, 50 because it's not fair. I don't know where to put them. I don't. I just don't, so I don't even acknowledge them. I do a list like they don't exist, okay? So that's not me saying they're bad or that somebody's better than them. I just have no fucking clue what to do with these two guys. One played against Farmers and won 11 championships shooting under 50% from the field. And the other was this enormous behemoth of a man that just slayed every woman that crossed his path. But anyways,
he did.
I don't want to rank them, okay? So don't freak out when I have a list without them. My top 5 centers of all time today, you got to go Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Shaquille O'Neal,
Hakeem, although I don't.
Nikola Jokic.
Oh my God.
Nikola Jokic. I'm going to ask you, who would you rather have? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or Nikola Jokic? You'd obviously say Kareem. It's a 5-time MVP, or three or 4-time MVP. Excuse me, 5-time champion. You have Shaquille O'Neal, the most dominant force we've ever seen at the position. But what Nikola Jokic is doing is giving you almost 60 points a game. 60 points a game is what he's almost giving you. That is insane. His points accounted for are ridiculous. Oh, on top of the elite rebounding. And yeah, he's not an A+ defender, but he's a C+, B- defender. He's not a pushover. Again, Hakeem, 2 championships, the dream, the shimmy, his post game, his defense, I get it. But Nikola Jokic, my point center, who gives me paint protection to an extent, dominance in the paint offensively. Oh, and I can run my offense through him? Really? I would take him over Hakeem? I would, and I know that you're going to smile. And again, we're going to get to semantics. Well, Hakeem is a 2-time Finals MVP. So how about you talk to me when Jokic has won his 2nd one? Okay, fine. Semantics, fine. But Nikola Jokic is one of the anomalies in NBA history. Shaq was, Wilt was, Steph is an anomaly. MJ, LeBron. You talk about the sky hook was an anomaly. You want to talk about unicorns. Nikola Jokic is one of them.
Yes,
and I don't think we'll ever see a center be as gifted from the free throw line, the 3-point shot, the mid-range, the floating touch, the ability to score in the paint, the rebounding, the assists, the scoring, the efficiency. It's all there.
Okay. Agreed.
And I don't think not only have we ever seen that, we've never seen it at that position.
And I'll explain.
I don't think we ever will.
And there's some truth to what you're saying about Nikola Jokic. It's a different game in today's NBA, and also the center position is extremely devalued over the last 15 years, 20 years. So for Nikola Jokic, what big men in the NBA? Who's his biggest threat? Joel Embiid. Like you're talking about Hakeem, Kareem, Wilt, all these guys, and we'll just stick with Kareem and Hakeem. Those two played in the center era and still were better day one than Nikola Jokic. They played against better centers.
How is that fair? When the league has programmed us to say we don't value centers anymore, now we have to rethink the way we think and say, hey, if I'm taking a center, hey, buddy, you got to figure out what Jokic is doing.
Yes.
You have to be able to hit free throws. You need to be able to move the ball. I need you to play up at the perimeter, run a pick and roll off. I need you to do that. Now we're going to start demanding our centers. And what Jokic has done is bring this center position back, but really only because of him. Joel Embiid is unreliable, injury-prone, suspect inconsistently on defense, shoots way too many threes for a guy who isn't even efficient from the three.
But
settles for the jumper. The game has gone away from the center, and what Nikola Jokic has reminded all of us is that a dominant big man, an efficient big man, is one of the most valued things in the NBA, just in the game of basketball. So yeah, you want to go and say, well, he didn't play against David Robinson or Shaq or Hakeem or any of these guys. Okay, Okay.
Well, he was a
He
better.
put Anthony Davis to bed. Anthony Davis is one of the 10 best centers of all time.
No, and again, just looking at it from Hakeem and Kareem's point of view, I value being able to play defense. That's important to me. And offense, and you could argue, well, Jokic offensively is better than Hakeem and Kareem.
He's better than every player in NBA history at the position, statistically.
Well, with his playmaking, absolutely. And his scoring, his efficiency. But overall, I mean, Kareem walked into the league and gave you 30-plus his first 4 years.
Yeah, no.
29. And again, different era, but
he was the greatest scorer in NBA history prior to LeBron James.
And then Hakeem walked right in and never averaged under 20 until he was damn near 35 years old. So Nikola, we can't just act like Nikola came out and averaged a 20-point triple-double. It took a couple years to become Nikola Jokic.
Of course.
If we're talking about all-time legacy and what they'll do in the NBA when their career's all said and done, you can't argue that Hakeem he's still better.
I said semantics. I will give you, but Jokic's career his legacy is still being written. But I am not looking at just subjectively at that. Oh, 2 championships to 1, 2 MVPs to 1. No. I'm not doing that. I'm looking at the player. I don't have to wait to acknowledge that what Nikola Jokic does on a nightly basis, we've never seen at the center position. Is that fair for me to say?
That's fair.
Okay. So when I take that into consideration, and I look at Kareem, Hakeem, Shaq, Wilt, all of these guys, this has never been done. This has never been done, and he is the unicorn. And for the reason we give Steph so much credit is because he is the unicorn. He was the undersized guard that took the league by storm and made a 35-foot three-point shot the norm. And he changed the way we look at analytics and the way you're supposed to score in the NBA. And now teams are looking and saying, wait, Nikola Jokic, if I can get Jalen Duren, if I can get any young center in the NBA to be a 15 to 20% better version of themselves in terms of passing IQ and ability to move the ball and touch, the big man position alone becomes much more valuable in the NBA. Jokic is the unicorn, and Joel Embiid isn't. He just isn't. He hasn't won. There's a reason he hasn't won. And it's because all he does is score, and he doesn't know how to get his team involved. He isn't responsible for how the team operates. The ball starts and ends with Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
I can't say that about any center outside of maybe Kareem and Hakeem Olajuwon. I'll give you that. But my goodness. So yeah, you want to say, Adam, I can't put him over Hakeem? Fine, semantics. I'll get it. I'll wait for him to win his second championship.
Well, even that I ain't putting him over Hakeem.
I think you're overvaluing Hakeem's defense, because if Hakeem is this much better of a defensive player than Jokic, Jokic is that much better of an offensive player, given his playmaking ability, his dribbling, his responsibility on offense, his scoring ability, his efficiency.
He's more dynamic offensively. But again, even for Hakeem to average 20+ and well over 10 rebounds, and what he's done defensively, averaging 3 blocks for his entire career and almost 2 steals, we won't even bring that up. But just over 20 points. Again, his entire career until the age of 35, he did that in an era where there's less possessions, lower scoring games, and he never took a 3. So imagine it in today's NBA with more possessions. He's still giving you, in his prime years, 27, 12, and almost 4 blocks. On what, 52% from the field. With less possessions, and it's tough comparing players from different eras.
I'm not doing that, though.
Right.
I'm not telling you I'm putting Nikola Jokic in the 90s or any. I'm not doing that. I'm telling you, at face value, the player, the whole body of work. There's maybe only 2, 3 centers at most all time right now that you can tell me are a better player. And I could argue Jokic does more different things better than some of those all-time greats.
Yes, offensively.
It's all offensively. And again, he's a C+, B- defender. Fine. He's not asked to be an all-time defender in this era, though. Again, it's a different era. A lot of people settle for three-point shots now. That's the name of the game. So he's not having guys attacking the basket where he has to be an amazing shot blocker. That's just not the game. But even in the Miami series, he maybe doesn't block as many shots, but he forces you to float them. He forces you to hit tough, difficult mid-range floaters. And he contests.
Well, congratulations. You're 7 foot and you're contesting shots.
What am I asking you to do?
We need a call.
I already texted him. He's coming in. But anyways, back to my point. What Jokic is giving me offensively is so much more than any of these guys could ever dream of. For like guys like Shaq, it was 28 a night in his prime. Or you could say even 30.
Mm-hmm.
Same for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It was that. It was some defense. Hakeem, it was the paint. Protecting the paint, it was his post game. It was amazing. It was scoring, rebounding. All these guys are the same. Traditional, under the basket, protect the paint, score, rebound. This guy works at the fucking three-point line and can do it in the paint and can dribble the whole entire court with the ball and is a centerpiece of the offense and dictates what everybody does.
Passes. I mean, he's doing.
It's just so different, and it's not that I want to be a prisoner of the moment. I just don't want to have to wait. I don't think it's right to wait to say what this guy is doing we haven't seen before. He joins a list of only 8-9 players ever before the age of 28 to have 2 MVPs, a finals MVP. LeBron, Jordan, Kareem, some of the greatest players ever. He's on that list. Not Steph Curry, not Kobe, none of them. None of them. None of them are on that list. He's on the list with LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The list goes on. And it's that short of a list. So, yeah, I think he's an all-time great. And I think he's earned it. And, again, validation. We do this in media all the time. We need to validate players with their resume. Fine. If Nikola Jokic won his whole career without winning a championship, I wouldn't even be having this discussion. But he's not only the centerpiece, he's not only the leader, he's not only the finals MVP. He's done all of it, and he still has runway to get more. Now, again, if he finishes his career with 1 title and he never gets back, okay, well, legacy-wise, it may not be what we're saying it is now, but those years haven't been written yet. So, as of right now, this is not normal. I've never seen this, and that's where I'm at. You want to debate legacy, and I'm down. I agree with you. Hakeem has had a better legacy career.
Yes.
That is fair. I'll give you that.
At least,
I'm not even going to argue it. But you talk about players? I mean, I've never seen this, and I don't want to be the guy that just disregards what he's doing because his legacy isn't fully written yet. I see the unicorn. I see the greatness, and I want to acknowledge it. I just do.
I think Nikola Jokic, when it's all said and done, will be one of the greatest players of all time. I do. I have confidence in that. But, again, there's still a lot of work to do. As much as you want to say, and Neil brings this up, which, again, I appreciate Neil, the eyeball test. What I'm seeing from Jokic and what he can do on a basketball court is something I've never seen. Okay, true. But you know how many players have won a Defensive Player of the Year award, Finals MVP, and MVP? It's not too many. And Nikola Jokic, he's never going to win a Defensive Player of the Year award. So, and again, he's great offensively, but I value two-way players more in impact. So, Hakeem is better right now. Kareem is better. Shaq is better. But Nikola can change that.
But you're saying two-way players, and that's fine.
Yeah, you got to be able to, I mean.
Semantics. You want to talk about the little things that matter when we talk about the all-time greats? I'll agree with you. Fine. Nikola Jokic is a C+, B- defender. Hakeem Olajuwon was an A+ defender. Hakeem Olajuwon's post game was A+. Yes. His total offensive game, I would say what? An A-? He's a good player, very good player, one of the all-time greats. Nikola Jokic's offensive game is miles ahead of anybody on that list. It's not even close because of what he does and what he's responsible for and how he doesn't turn the ball over and how efficient he is. You want the two-way, that's fine. But I see a guy that's responsible for 50-plus points a night. And Shaq wasn't doing that. Kareem wasn't doing it. Neither was Hakeem. And last I checked, Nikola Jokic wasn't a defensive liability in this series or any series prior. Again, he's not going up against some of the great centers. But you know what? He went up against Anthony Davis, and he played with Anthony Davis. Played with him. Joel Embiid, not even on the level of any of these guys. So, maybe I'm crazy. Who knows?
I mean, we already knew that.
Yeah, we'll take a break. Let's take a break. When we get back, we'll go around the NFL. Are running backs undervalued? We'll get to Kool-Aid at 9:30. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Swiss Insurance.
Let me talk to you about them, guys. Swiss Insurance Group. Now that summer's here, it is important that you make sure you are properly covered, whether it's a grad party or just a group of people over to enjoy the lake or pool. Your liability exposure increases significantly in the summertime. You let the Swiss Insurance Group review your coverage and make sure you are protected from an unexpected loss. Check us out at Swiss Insurance, SwissINS.com, or call Mark today at 248-800-4177 for more information.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Whew. All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live. WoodwardSports.com. Adam Beydoun, Jeff Iafrate, Gabrielle D. Phillips. Let's go around the NFL a little bit. Running backs voicing their concerns. Saquon Barkley, Najee Harris. Even Dalvin Cook now waiting to sign a significant contract.
Isn't that crazy? Dalvin Cook coming off 1,100 yards, and I know in past time, at least 2 years ago, he hasn't been able to stay healthy. Yep. But 27 years old, you're coming off 1,100 yards and you're cut.
For salary cap reasons,
obviously. But 20 years ago, they'd be looking elsewhere. They want to keep Dalvin Cook, but it just shows you that the running back position it's not the same in today's NFL. Saquon Barkley, they signed Daniel Jones to a $40 million annual extension for 4 years, and Saquon gets tagged. It's like, and we all watched the Giants last year. Who had more to do in what they did last year?
Obviously, Saquon. That's why we laughed when Daniel Jones got paid, because you paid him $40+ million. And in my head, I'm looking at the situation and I'm saying, why didn't I give Daniel a $35 million contract, 3-4 years, fully guaranteed?
Yes.
Something along those 80% guaranteed, let's say. And then I dish that additional money into Saquon's contract and give him 13, 14, 15 a year, because he's the reason why, not Daniel Jones, he's the reason more so that we had success. But again, they didn't. They decided to pay the quarterback, whatever. But our running back's undervalued. And that's, you know what? I will say this. If you want to use the Super Bowl argument, which I have used before, by saying the average salary of a Super Bowl winning running back is significantly 1/50th of the salary of the top earners in the NFL. That's fair. But who were their quarterbacks? LeGarrette Blount? Oh, Tom Brady. All those years, the running backs didn't matter. It was Tom Brady. And Isaiah Pacheco. Well, now it's Patrick Mahomes. And those are 2 of the 5 greatest quarterbacks ever. So, when we talk about the running back position, context matters a little bit. And I still think they have value. But I'm going to disagree with them. I don't think they have that type of value. I would much rather pay my wide receivers than my running backs. It's just where the game is going. We're passing more.
Yeah.
I have to be good running the ball situationally, and that's why guys like David Montgomery are getting paid the way they are, because they do a job, and they do it very well. I don't need Christian McCaffrey. Would I like him? Sure. I'm not trying to pay him, though. Would I like Derrick Henry? Sure. Don't need him. And when I say don't need him, I mean, I don't need the guy that's going to lead the league or top 5 in rushing. I just don't need him. Statistically, it's proven you just don't need the guys.
Yeah.
So are running backs undervalued? Maybe they believe so, given the nature of their position and how short-term their careers are. But that's not my problem.
Right.
My problem is to build a team and save money doing it. And if I can save money by cutting a running back and then drafting one in the 5th round and getting the same production the next year.
Yeah,
And over the last 25 years, first-round running backs average 4.5 yards a carry, and every round after, including undrafted, average 4.3. That's not much of a big difference. It just isn't. And again, the Jamal Lewises, Priest Holmes, LaDainian Tomlinsons, back in the day, running backs matter. Barry Sanders, Walter Payton, Edgerrin James, all the great. Good for you. We're not in that era anymore.
No,
they just don't matter.
There's maybe one a year that goes in the first round. Maybe. In some years there isn't. Compared to 20 years ago when there was 5-6 guys going in the first round. They're all treated like expendable commodities. And I partially blame the Cowboys, too, for giving Zeke that extension. Because once Zeke got paid and teams saw Zeke getting $50 million a year and he was getting 3 yards per carry, everybody else looked at each other and said, yeah, we're not paying running backs no more. We can't pay these guys $50 million, especially when through their rookie contract, through the first 4 or 5 years, you run them into the ground. And then you give them an extension. Like, typically, it doesn't work out like that. So, logically, for GMs, if you're looking at the data and you're looking at running backs in the NFL and teams that win Super Bowls, they're not the most important position you should re-sign. Wide receiver, I agree with you, is more important, especially in today's NFL. But having a top 7, top 10 quarterback is more important than having, a top 5 running back. It just is. Because you look around and you brought up the Super Bowl winners, teams that have a Saquon, or back in the day when the Rams had Todd Gurley, typically those running backs supplement for having a mid quarterback or below mid. Like for Daniel Jones, they won, 8-9 games?
They won 9 games last year. They won a playoff game. But what's situationally.
Yes. But what's the ceiling of that team?
Thank you.
It's like...
And do I think they made a mistake by not paying Saquon? I do. Yes. I really do. I'm on Saquon's side on this one. And JB, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I think Saquon's in the right. I do. I think they paid Daniel Jones too much. But I'm sorry. Your position is super violent. You're hit. You're in a car accident every time you carry the ball, basically.
Yeah.
And the lifespan of your career, it's not that long at that position. And I'm typically paying you for what you did, not what you are going to do. Look, maybe they can negotiate something. I think running backs should get paid. I'm not saying they shouldn't. I think the NFL should find a better way to pay running backs. Maybe you make exceptions where if you take them high enough in the draft, maybe they get front-loaded a ton of money and they get that type of contract based on production.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the solution. All I know is I'm not trying to pay Najee Harris $14 million a year. I'm not trying to sign Dalvin Cook for $14 million a year. Why? Tyler Algier ran for the same amount of yards almost as Dalvin Cook did last year. And he was a 5th-round pick. And I pay him $300,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I do that, JB?
And by the way, I just saw the
I was going to say, yeah.
what JB just said on Twitter. This is Dav Kleiman. He reported, and it's been reported also per Ian Rappaport. The Giants offered Saquon Barkley a contract worth up to $14 million per year. The Giants made Barkley the same offer earlier this offseason, but took it off the table in March after Barkley declined it. It's now back on if Barkley wants it. So $14 million annually for Saquon Barkley, coming off an ACL injury. Had a great season last year. And again, if you're the Giants, I feel like you're in a position where you kind of have to pay him. But $14 million, and I don't know how many years it is, but if it's 4 years, $14 million a year,
look at Zeke.
There's risk. Yeah.
Zeke was the best running back in the NFL the day he stepped foot in this league.
Yeah, he was.
Led the league in rushing, I believe, 2 of his first 3 years. He was a fucking monster. Won me a fantasy football championship, by the way. Shout out. And then you paid him for what he did, not what he could do. Mm-hmm. And now he's cut. And he has nowhere to go. And the Cowboys regret that trade because they would still have Amari Cooper if they didn't make that signing. That's the problem with the position. It's not that Saquon and these guys aren't talented.
No, it's positional value.
By the time they finish their first contract, they maybe have 3 years left if they're lucky.
But then how does that change? How does that thought change? It's not from the players.
I think it's in the CBA. I think you go to the CBA and you say, hey, NFL teams, we're going to encourage you to draft this position. The higher you draft them, the more incentives they have. So, for example, Zeke was taken, 3rd overall?
Yeah.
Okay, he gets his base salary, a ton of money guaranteed in that contract, and then he has bonuses that are basically funded by or approved by the league. They don't count towards the cap, but they're milestones. So 1,200 yards rushing, 1,500, 1,750, so that if you're getting all-pro production the first 3-4 years of their deal, they're getting paid for that production, and it's not costing you cap space. And that way the running back position's taken care of. You incentivize the player and the team. So, hey, you can still take them without any cap risk. And then you just have to pay them based on performance. Mm-hmm. And then come the second contract, you can decide, whether or not you want to re-sign them. And then there's no guarantees, there's no bonuses. I don't know. That would be my recommendation, just to get them more money in the beginning, because we all agree the first 4 years of a running back's career, those are legitimately the prime years.
Yeah, it is.
Healthy legs, speed, physicality, they're durable. There's so much that goes into it.
And I think the future of the running back position for these guys to still have value is to be just an offensive weapon like Jahmyr Gibbs. If you can not only be a running back, but also you have a receiver upside, you have pass catching ability like Saquon Barkley does, and I think Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, these guys do. That's the future, I think, of the running back position. You're like, yes, I'm a running back, but I can also line up at receiver and be used in different ways. That's how you increase your value in an age where running backs are all pretty much expendable commodities. If you could play receiver, although your lifespan or career span in the NFL goes down a little bit if you're getting a ton of carries, at least you have that to offer. You can't be just a bell cow back anymore. You got to be able to do multiple things. Derrick Henry is a rarity because of how large that man is, but besides that, I think Jahmyr Gibbs kind of is the modern day NFL running back. Just a weapon.
All right. I think we agree for the most part. How they fix it, I don't know.
Yeah.
I gave my
I don't think
quick
there's
idea.
I don't think there's a way. I mean, it's how the NFL's. It's just the direction that they're heading in.
Again, CBA, if the running back position is undervalued, the next time you negotiate, which is a while from now, I believe.
Yeah.
Like you negotiate and say there's incentive-based bonuses within rookie deals for running backs, so that if you take one in the 3rd, 4th round and he's playing at an all-pro level, you pay him for that production. That way, one, you pay him accordingly and he's happy, and two, come contract negotiation time, they can't sit there and say, I made $1.5 million on my original deal because I was a 6th round pick and I led the league twice in rushing. Give me $20 million a year guaranteed. What? So I think that could be a solution. Maybe I'm fucking crazy. I don't know. Let's take a break. When we get back, we got Kool-Aid joining us. It'll be fun. Talk some Pistons. But before we do, Gabby, our good friends over at Randy Wise.
Randy Wise Automotive. Have you ever wanted to see celebrities play golf alongside some average Joes? Well, now you can, thanks to Randy Wise Automotive and Woodward Sports Network. You're going to be able to see great episodes of some average Joes with celebrities out on the golf course. First episode coming very soon to woodwardsports.com. And while you're at it, go over to Randy Wise and get yourself into a celebrity level vehicle.
Big Boy Strawberry Fest has officially arrived, and we're here to show you the very best flavors of the season. Satisfy your sweet tooth with our deep-fried vanilla Oreos, strawberry hot fudge cake, and a slice of our classic strawberry pie. But that's not all. Cool off on a refreshing summer splash salad, or savor the flavors of our chicken Caesar wrap and strawberry bacon chicken wrap. And for breakfast lovers, don't miss out on our strawberry hotcakes or our mouth-watering red velvet waffle. Strawberry Fest is something for everyone. Celebrate the sweet season with us at Big Boy.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live. WoodwardSports.com. Adam Beydoun, Jeff Iafrate, Gabrielle D. Phillips, JB in the house. Lucas fucking up the audio as usual. It's all good. We love him. He's our special kid. I love you, man.
He's the GOAT.
I know you don't see it yet, but one day you're gonna look back at this experience. You're gonna say, man, I gotta love him. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. Maybe it's all a lie. Kool-Aid, what's up, baby?
What up, though?
How was the press conference yesterday?
It was live, man. It was electric. Really, you could feel hope in the air. Really.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
And by the way, I heard you at that presser. Brandon Dent, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, man. Got to put on for the team.
I like the swag.
Only man that asked about Steven Silas, which was probably the question I was waiting on, but I don't know if you guys talk about what questions you're asking beforehand, or the media just kind of chop it up, but you were the only one who went that route, so I was like, finally, you got a Steven Silas question. But how was it yesterday? Being out there, the players showed up. What was kind of the atmosphere like, number one, because it was kind of delayed a little bit, but number two, just seeing Monty and seeing the entire team there, but Bojan, obviously, because he's in Europe. But how was it?
It was electric. Like I said, where they sat us, the beat and some of the media were front and center in the middle row. Second row is where I was, kind of sat on the end, and I had no idea that the team was going to literally walk in and sit there. I'm sitting here waiting for the press conference to get going, looking at the front, and a couple people were behind me. Mike Curtis of Detroit News were like, bro, get your camera out, bro. Look, I looked to my left, and it's literally Killian Hayes and these guys sitting right there. And I was like, yo, it's the whole team. The whole team came out here, you know, except for like Beydoun. And it was an awesome show. You know, you have Duran, Ivy, K, and these guys kind of up front. Everybody's repping Detroit. That was kind of a theme, is that this culture, even Monty Williams, who stated he wants so much success, he wants people to think that he's from Detroit. You could sense a different swag.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like how we were feeling as the media and other people there in the building. It was about how this team was looking, man. Like, I don't know. It was confidence.
And we got tipped early, probably like a month or so ago, 2 months ago, on just Tom Gore's just frustration and how bad he wants to win and how bad he wants a winner. And then you kind of see the Monty Williams' storyline unfold. He gets fired. It takes about a month or so to really come to a decision to hire a head coach. Well, Pistons fans were impatient, obviously, as always, but they wanted a head coach. And Monty revealed that his wife was diagnosed, unfortunately, with breast cancer at the time. That's why he needed time away. And credit to Tom Gores for allowing him to be with his family, giving him that opportunity. But overall, I wanted to ask you, because I noticed that Jarrett Jack was there. Talk to me. Like, is something in the works that we don't know about? Because he hasn't been announced officially as an assistant coach. But come on, he was an assistant in Phoenix. Is it as good as a done deal?
It looked like it. Him and Kay Cunningham were like
they were chopping it up,
chopping it up. He had on the Restore shirt. He had on the Restore shirt. He and Jared Jackins. He still got the three.
He still got it.
He was out there on the court like on the other end just shooting.
We could sign him for a 10-day.
I was sitting here like, wasn't he just?
No. I remember him getting backed down by Kobe hitting buzzers on his ass back in the Indiana days. But
Jared Jack.
So now that he's a coach, Adam is like, all right, bullseye.
Yeah. But I love it. And also, one thing I did point out, because I took some notes and I wanted to bring them up to you, Tom Gores and Troy, and how Tom Gores mentioned how he didn't want to let the players down. And Troy mentioned to Monty, well, our locker room will match up with anybody in the NBA, which gave me goosebumps. And Monty heard that and heard the words restore, or the word restore, not rebuild. Just kind of talk about, too, I guess now that Monty's here, the press conference is over with. What's the atmosphere in the room now that he's officially the head coach? The players, I mean, everybody's excited for him, but now the offseason, the work begins. But I guess just overall, your thoughts on just yesterday and moving forward, Monty Williams with the Pistons, just in overall.
That is go time. That is go time. Like, they all stated it. Tom Gore said it as well. We believe we are ready to win. They asked, I believe it was Jamal Collier from ESPN who welcomed Monty Williams, but then directed his questions to Tom Gores and Troy Weaver about what does this hire mean. And they both stated, it's time to win. Troy, he's a little bit more stoic. And his first answer was just yes. And then we are ready to compete. This was their refrain at the beginning of last year. And the thing that they said held them down, they're still holding true to this. And I tell you this all the time, Adam. They believe in their draft picks. They said that they do believe that the injury of Kay Cunningham slowed all the progress they thought that they were going to have of this past season. So the overall thing, it was that they're ready to win, that they're going to get out there. I just wrapped the pod with Rod Beard. We're still trying to figure out exactly which way they're going to go. If they truly believe that these players or who they're going to invest in, or if they still need to go out there and make a significant splash in the offseason. But he does believe that, as I do, and the feeling around there and what they were saying, they're ready to win.
I was telling Jeff this earlier. One, credit to Tom Gores for essentially going all in to make this happen. Ton of credit, respect for that.
Yeah.
I think him and Troy Weaver were at a crossroads. I do. Not that they don't agree. I think it's okay. It's healthy to disagree with your teammates, your leadership, the people you work with. It's good. That's how you solve problems. But I don't think Tom Gores was trying to see Kevin Ali become the next head coach, or Stephen Silas, or any of these guys become the next head coach. I'm done with losing. I need somebody that I can trust, an adult, come in here, hold people accountable, build an offensive identity, build a defensive identity, build a potential winner in this town. I like Cade, I like Ivy, I like Duran, but Troy, you got to stop fucking going after people like James Wiseman. You got to stop bringing me all these people with potential upside. That's great. I need to build a roster. How can we win more games? It's about winning at the end of the day. You can only rebuild for so long. You've been rebuilding for 5 years, essentially. You've been rebuilding for 5 years. The product hasn't been good. The draft picks, it all started with Cade. Fine, I'll give you that. But the point is, you haven't been good in a very long time. Over a decade, you haven't been any good anyways.
Yeah.
Troy Weaver needs to stop going for young, up-and-coming potential talent that he can flip, and he needs to start thinking about how can I surround Cade and Ivy with solid role players, veteran leadership, guys that can walk in and get me 14 a night while Cade and Ivy are running the offense. How do I get more out of Killian Hayes coming off the bench? Jalen Duren, can he be a 14-10 guy this year? We'll see.
Yeah.
I think, they believe in their draft picks. I agree. I believe in them too. I do. But Troy's got to start thinking of how do I build a roster, not how do I fix a roster. This is not a restoration process. This is I need to build a winner. And not a winner with Reggie Jackson, Andre Drummond, where you know you're going to get fucked in the first round. No, a winner where Cade and Ivy are a potential all-star backcourt, and you surround them with the talent necessary to potentially get into the second round 3 years from now. That's the goal, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's the thing. I saw a graphic online that showed a lineup. I forget the exact lineup, but I do believe it was Cade, Ivy, Bojan, Stu, and Duren. That lineup never saw the court together.
Yep.
And that's what I'm stating. They're sitting here having to state, did we make the right draft picks? Because if you did make the right draft picks, then your augmentation would be things like, we're going to just go and grab another Duren.
How true is that? That's not true, though.
We're going to get Alec Burks. Those guys were banged up all year. Cade played 12 games.
I think you're giving a pass on draft picks because of injuries, which I guess is fair, but look at Aaron Gordon. He was selected, 4th overall? He was never going to be the face of a franchise.
No.
And then Denver took him. And Denver said, we don't want you to do that. We want you to play defense. We want you to be a versatile wing player. We want you to learn how to shoot the three. We want you to express yourself and show off your skills, but within our offense. And now Aaron Gordon is a very valuable player in the NBA. Isaiah Stewart, I think the same way of. Not that you took him that high, but Isaiah Stewart has a role to play on a team.
Right.
Killian Hayes can have a role. A lot of the Pistons roster are fucking role players, man. And that's the thing where I brought up Troy. No more role players. Bring me bona fide starters that fit, that Monty Williams can coach, and can help groom and develop Cade and Ivy. That's your future.
I agree with that, but I'm going to continue to stress that. If you have to go in and bring in bona fide people, then you do not believe in your number one and your then Jaden Ivey and your Duren. And this is what I mean by this. I can see them going and making one big splash. But how much more are you actually looking for them from a star position?
Not looking for stars. I'm not looking for stars. I'm looking for veteran quality players.
Yeah, and that's the push. That's
few
what
and
they
far
said
in between right now.
That's what they said they're looking for. And I think that when you look at how the rebuild has gone, this is just at the stage that they're at. I do believe if Cade did not get injured, we see them taking a completely different approach. I do believe this team is a 30-plus win team. When you look at the type of player that Bojan Bogdanovic is, he was brought here specifically to complement Cade Cunningham. He admitted that, and other people within the organization admitted that, and they just didn't play together. Then they switched their whole tune after that to trying to compete, trying to win, trying to put out the best lineups, to people just now magically having 30-game injuries out of nowhere. This was something kind of strategic, and that's what I'm saying. The team that they're supposed to put out there from just a basketball standpoint was actually supposed to be pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
That was supposed to be a decent squad with no depth, though. So that going into this next season, they can go and then they have to make a splash because some of these parts and pieces did not pan out. Some of them did not take the steps forward, as well as the step back with Cade getting hurt. So now they're sitting kind of in this middle of, do we augment or do we go and compliment somebody right now, because you can't keep going on and losing. That's why I'm saying, it's time to get going with these draft picks. I don't want to see them doing this for 3 years. I don't want the playoffs.
Well, then Marvin Bagley, James Wiseman, Corey Joseph need to get the fuck out of town. With all due respect. And you need to bring in guys that can space the floor.
I like the all due respect.
Hit shots and move on.
Like that makes it better.
And then if you want your second lineup, if you want your second unit to be a unit that features Killian Hayes, a guard, Ivy, Cade, who knows how they're going to plan it.
Yeah.
and your 3 is an unknown or the draft pick potentially, and then your 4 is going to end up being Isaiah Stewart, and then your 5, maybe you play without one, or it's Wiseman, that's not appealing to me. I don't think that still works. So, again, that's why I bring up Troy. There's a lot of, it's not about restoring or patience. It's nothing to do with that. I think they have the patience needed. Some of these players, man.
But we talked about this last year on the Woodward Pistons podcast. Last year was always about figuring out who's staying and who's going. So it's figuring out the roster itself. I know Cade went down and it changed a lot of things, but regardless, you were going to find out a lot about a lot of people on this team last year. And I think they found out a lot.
Do you have the answers?
Yes.
Marvin Bagley, yes or no?
No.
Excuse me, Isaiah Stewart, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, we all agree on this. Great. Killian Hayes, yes or no?
He
There's the fucking debate, right?
But regardless, even with Killian Hayes on the bench, they had a pretty good bench last year.
And
Corey
he did
Joseph,
round
no.
out in the form.
No. Corey Joseph, no.
Bagley, no. I already brought up Bagley.
Yeah, you brought up
did I?
Bagley. But Burks, Bojan, the veterans they have, like those pieces as well. They have money to spend. I think it's more about just figuring out, and I want to ask you this, the draft pick. You're picking 5th overall. Is there a situation you see or a scenario you see in which that 5th overall pick will be starting? Or do you think it's more likely he'll come off the bench? Because if you say he's starting, I think that changes a little bit.
I think they trade it to this day. I'm not backing off what I said originally.
Well, potentially they trade it. But if you draft somebody at 5 overall, I think in free agency, if you sign veteran wings or wing players that I think day 1 will be better than your draft pick, he shouldn't start day 1.
This is the one thing that I've realized. Every time we say trade, I don't think people think trade back. I think people instantly think we're going to trade the pick for another player that's already established. And Rod Beard on the pod this morning, he brought up a guy you like, Jeff. He said, where do you believe Taylor Hendricks is going to get drafted? And I said, I would love for him to take one of those Jalen Duren type to 13 slides, but I think his low is 9 or 10. He said, then why isn't it smart for the Pistons? He said, how much separation between Cam Whitmore and Taylor Hendricks? I said, not much. Why would you not trade back and take Taylor Hendricks? And it was like, that would be the play. That's the logical thing to do if you're looking at adding talent. Whether that player would start or not, I do believe potentially it behooves the Pistons. It benefits them to trade back. Take a couple more shots in this draft. Give yourself an opportunity realistically with some of these players that Adham wants to move on from, and some of the players that we think could be expendable, whether we think they're good or not. When you can stack the deck with more draft picks, like they did in that first year with Killian, Sadiq, and Isaiah Stewart, then it gives you the opportunity to flip some of those other guys.
Right. And it shouldn't be for draft capital this year. Like if you move back, yes, but I'm talking about if you get a first and a second, maybe multiple firsts, whatever it is, you got to start getting picks down the line because it's not just this season; it's in the future. You need draft capital to be able to acquire a star. Cleveland knows that when they got Donovan Mitchell.
And next year's pick is a little dicey right now.
Right, especially that with the Knicks owning it and really it being top 15 protected. So honestly, I think this season, with Monty Williams, it doesn't change my expectations, but I'm much more confident now with Monty Williams.
Can we agree on 2 things? Troy Weaver's going to trade a ton leading up or draft day. Right? Can we agree? I think he's going to move a lot of players. I think Bagley's getting moved. I'm not going to comment on Bojan because I think he helps Cade a lot and Ivy. He gives you the spacing you want. He's such a good three-point shooter.
You.
We're talking about different things at the time. All right,
giving Bojan some credit.
I am. I'm a good man. I
love it.
Again, moving on. The second thing, which again we don't talk about, we just say we have money. We have money. Everything's okay. Oh my god.
Where are we spending it?
Where? You go to wing players. Karis LeVert. You bring him. Seth Curry. Well, he can't play a lick of defense.
No.
No.
You're going to go pay Bruce Brown the bag? He's probably going to sign on a low deal to stay in Denver and try to repeat. So who? Jay Crowder? There's one. Okay.
I don't know if Monty and Jay would work.
Obviously, but no, I'm just naming the names. Kelly Oubre, I'm not interested.
But I would love Jay Crowder.
Torrey Craig, that's an interesting one.
That's a
but
solid
again,
one.
These are just like...
Those are role players.
Marginal role players. I don't think you're going to get a bona fide starting 3 in free agency. I think it comes through a draft pick or trading that draft pick and packaging it with a Bagley or somebody, and you go out and get a 3 that walks into this team, isn't the 1, isn't the 2, but can give you 3 type scoring and 1 or 2 type defense, if that makes sense. Who that trade is, I really don't have any idea. I tried doing the trade scenarios. I couldn't find fucking one. But, Troy, good luck. Good luck.
Jeff, what's on your mind, man?
Let's see. It sounds like somebody I want, somebody that can fill a role, can shoot.
Who?
6'9", has length, can defend, plays at UCF. He's a freshman by the name of Taylor Hendricks. He fits that mold. But also,
I'm not saying. I literally said either it could be that pick or you package it.
And you know what I'm
not hating your Taylor Hendricks pick.
You know what I love too, and again, and when I talk about Taylor Hendricks, it's not to try and belittle any of the other draft picks. I would take Jarris Walker, Cam Whitmore. I mean, I'm all for those guys. I have a personal preference.
A lot of people are starting to really like Taylor Hendricks,
and they're coming around on him.
They're really.
And you were there right after the lottery. I started watching film on the top 10 prospects. I love Taylor Hendricks.
You asked me. You were like, bro,
and I asked you at the time.
Hendricks? I was like, I gotta familiarize myself.
And everybody called me crazy. And then now I see more and more Taylor Hendricks, so I'm like, okay, well, finally everybody's coming around. But this is what I don't understand. And Adam, we had this conversation about the NFL draft. If you like a player, you take him. So when people say we'll trade back the pick, the question I would have is, okay, who's coming up to take the pick? And if there is a team, because I think if people want to trade up, it'd be for Scoot, for Brandon Miller, it'd be for a top 2, top 3 pick, top 5. I don't know the likelihood of it, but I don't want the reason you're not drafting Taylor Hendricks is I wouldn't take him at 5, but I'd take him at 7.
That makes no sense to me.
Take him at 5. If you want him, take him at 5.
Some of these teams in the playoffs, and we've seen this the last couple of years, they had some lottery picks on their team that were actually playing some important roles. So when you do say who's taking these players, some of these teams who need to improve but they don't have the cap space, they will trade with you, and they will have to give up things. The one thing that I've tracked since Troy Weaver's been in and Rod told me to kind of watch this, it's the amount of disgruntled stars that just come out of nowhere. The things that you never hear, and then all of a sudden the Pistons are involved in it, or other teams are involved in it. That's how we got Jeremy Grant. He wasn't even disgruntled. Denver said, we'll match the money. But that relationship, I don't know what Troy Weaver is doing behind the scenes. Even the Bojan Bogdanovic deal, it was like, where? We were all sitting here like, okay, cool. We were just getting, I think, down from the high of the Jalen Duren trade.
But we're playing this game of chess, thinking we're in control, when in reality Denver benefited from letting go of Jeremy Grant because they were able to get Michael Porter Jr., they were able to fill out their roster, pay him really nothing compared to what he would go in the market today.
Right.
So,
but that's
again,
Denver.
I want to give credit to Troy. I think he's done a good job. But building a contending roster is very different than every year surprising us, making us happy with a few flips, trading Sadiq Bey, acquiring Wiseman, acquiring draft picks that turn into Jalen Duren, acquiring contracts, and next thing you know, you got a first-round pick for it, and that turns into somebody. Like, it's all nice. When does it come together? And that's what I think Monty's here for, is to allow it to come together. And I don't think it all happens in 1 year, but I expect Troy to maneuver a lot. There's no way Monty's walking in with that 10-11 core of 10-11 players going into next season.
And by the way,
I think 3 or 4 of them are gone.
Yeah, I would
agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that too. You see Emoni Bates playing with Jalen Duren?
I did see that.
I hope they take him.
I've been on that train.
Small
as well,
confession.
bro.
Late first round, fucking go for him. Trade up if you have to. I don't care.
Yeah,
go for
just
him.
go get him.
I don't care.
Yeah.
You want to trade up to 20 and take him? Go for it. Fuck it. Honestly,
trade up to 20?
worth the story. It's nothing. Everything after the it's all nothing. It's all a fucking crapshoot in the NBA.
You're just throwing it.
Who cares?
You're throwing stuff at the wall, seeing if it
future
sticks.
second, and 3 years from now, another second to move up 8, 9 spots. I don't give a shit. Go
I think
for
you
it.
got to get him. I do.
It'd be a good story, man.
I know some people are saying get him away from home, and I'm like, wait, he got in trouble when he went away from home. He's here, and we haven't heard really much of.
Balled out at
He's
Easter.
just been kind of balling.
Put it on Michigan the one time they played. That was nice. I'm down.
Go Blue
That's
Dog.
a guy that's going to come in, have a role, and he's going to be a guy that can shoot the ball and give you the space.
And for how low risk it is, I mean, for the situation he'd be coming into, although it is close to home, Dwayne, John Beeline, Monty Williams, Steven Sowers, the basketball knowledge he'd be a part of or be around, I think it's great. And a culture of players that are around the same demographic.
We have to
same
go.
age, too.
We have to go, but I have one more question to ask you.
Yes, sir.
It is against my ethos not to be an asshole, so I have to say it. 27% from the field, 37% from, 27% from 3, 37% from the field. That's Killian Hayes in his career. Wait. How much of a leap forward can he take this year? Because I don't see him taking a 10-point step forward in either category, where he's a 47, 48% from the field and 35, 37% from three. I just don't see it. Everybody is on board with Monty making Killian Hayes a better player. I don't buy it, but you tell me. Is he going to improve significantly this offseason because of Monty?
The reason why I'm excited about Monty and Killian is when we saw Killian at his best was when they had him in kind of some off-ball roles. They had him diving, cutting, catching like passes in the paint. And then when Cade went down, they had to kind of switch all that because they just didn't have the guards. What I like about Monty is something you guys have heard me complain about. They're not throwing lobs. They're not throwing backdoor cuts. They're not doing anything to Jade and Ivy. I believe that having a coach like this will get the best out of all of these on-ball players.
Coach that knows how to run an offense.
Players.
Fuck if I knew what that was.
Listen, that was the one I conceded. That from the X's and O's standpoint, from the offense, I believe that the Pistons needed to augment or make a change. And that's what I believe is going to make the biggest difference. When you just say, Killian, you're a good facilitator. We trust you to run our plays. That's a little bit different.
I can buy into that.
But that's a little bit different.
But don't shoot the fucking ball.
But Killian has a 6'5" guy with a little bit of athleticism coming off the wing with just the rim in front of him. We've seen him catch that and just dunk it.
He just doesn't do it enough.
Because he's not in that position. When they put him as a point guard, other teams know from a defensive standpoint, we can fluster the heck out of him. This is basketball 101. People, we go to the playground. You know, certain guys, you can put them in certain situations. But when you pull them off ball and don't just make them stand in a corner, but start to get motion going and dribble handoffs, he looks like a different player. He looks like a guy that's playing on the playground. Yeah. And that was the biggest switch between remember preseason. I implore everybody, go look at how they used him in preseason. When Cade went down, everything changed. They put the ball back in his hands, and it looked like Blake Griffin years Killian Hayes. It just was like he just was a stick in the mud. So that's where I believe Monty will have the biggest difference if they choose to keep Killian.
I appreciate you for joining us this morning. You do an excellent job as always. Jeff, you're the man. We'll take a break when we get back. Mailbag coming up. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Outdoor Equipment.
Let me tell you about them, guys. Your childhood may be over, but playtime is not. Outdoor Equipment Company is your source for outdoor power equipment, sales, service, and parts, carrying top brands such as Bad Boy, LS Tractor Still, and much more. Servicing the Great Lakes region with locations in Metro Detroit and Greater Lansing. For more information, visit them at OutdoorEquipCo.com. Outdoor Equipment Co., your power equipment playground.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions, featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Detroit sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com. Mailbag time. Get your questions in the chat. Jeff. Mailbag. Croissant?
That is not how you said it.
That's not how I said it. That's not how I said it. That is not how I said it.
Guarantee it. I'm going back. We got to make a sound drop out of it. Please, Jason.
If you make a sound drop out of it, heads will be cut off in this building. You think the Unabomber was bad? Wait till I get my hands on you guys.
Oh my gosh, don't. No. Mailbag.
Oh, mailbag.
Oh, God. If Adam and Jeff put their heads together with their hair stick.
Probably.
That might be my favorite question that I think we've ever gotten.
That's fair.
Adam, what did you say when your mic got muted the first time by Lucas? I don't even remember. It happened multiple times this show.
Probably some expletives. Yeah.
Track.
Oh, God. How about those Tigers ending their 9-game losing streak? Spencer Torkelson, walk off.
The savior.
Fucking hell.
We're
only 5 games back of first place.
Aye. Doubleheader today.
Yay.
Rain out yesterday.
I'm going to be betting the house on the Braves today. Ivy will have a better career than Scoot, true or false? That's not fair.
I know one hasn't even played.
He hasn't even played in the NBA yet, and I just if Ivy's comp is Dwayne Wade and his stats were Dwayne Wade's year one, and that's what we think he can be, find me a guard that's going to have a better career. That's pretty hard.
I just think Ivy, he's a little bigger, he's more athletic. We'll see.
We'll see with Scoot. Scoot's going to be a good player, though.
Yeah, he will be.
We'll see how good.
Be a damn good player.
Are you happy that the state of Florida didn't win either the Stanley Cup or the NBA title? I am thrilled. I am thrilled because
double L's for Florida.
I hope the state of Florida is doing okay right now.
They are.
South
I mean, they got
Florida.
it good.
Yeah,
they got it good in Florida.
Fine.
They've got the
They're
weather.
walking outside to palm trees right now.
They've got the weather. They've got the policies. They don't have people taking over their country, replacing flags with different flags. They got it good in Florida, unlike California. Anyways, should we fire Weaver before he sabotages our draft? I'm not even going to acknowledge that.
You do.
Just leave it. I just wanted to ask it. What if Monday night was a turning point for Torkelson? Well, Zach, you could argue that for the last fucking year of any game where he got a hit, let alone a walk-off. So no, I don't know. I hope so, but I've been saying I hope so with Spencer Torkelson for over a year.
Why do y'all only talk about the Tigers when they lose, but refuse to say anything when they had a winning record in the month of May?
Because it's fun.
Because they fucking suck. Because they fucking suck. That's why. What's his name who asked that question?
Shad,
they fucking suck. They fucking suck. Because they had a losing record and we're still within the AL Central race. That's why. Because the Central is garbage and the Tigers are garbage. And they have no hitters. And Javi Baez sucks absolute balls. And then you have the MLB.com tweeting out El Mago because he almost made a fucking error and made up for it by throwing it to third base. Wow, El Mago. Yeah, because he fucking meant it. Fucking trash. All right, anyways. Fuck the Tigers. I love them, but God, they suck. What else are we going to do here?
Jesse asked, mailbag, would you want the Pistons to sign/trade with the Nets, give them Stuart Hayes 5th overall for Cam Johnson? No,
Hayes,
I'm not even going to stop.
No, Hayes in the 5th overall pick, I do it, yes.
For Cam Johnson?
Yes.
Hell no.
But not including Isaiah Stewart. Isaiah Stewart off the table.
Hell no.
What do you mean hell no?
I'm not taking...
You're willing to pay the guy $20+ million a year but not trade Killian Hayes for him?
The 5th overall pick and Killian Hayes and pay him $20 million?
Going to be better day one than Cam Johnson.
I think the 5th overall pick can be better than Cam Johnson. So I'm not paying...
Okay, wait. No, day one.
Of course, none of these guys.
What about year two?
Well, depending on who you take. Yeah.
Okay, Taylor Hendricks, because that's the guy you're in love with. Is he going to be a better shooter by year 3 than Cam Johnson?
Well, I look at upside and potential, and yeah, he's got more upside than Cam Johnson. Those guys do. So I don't know.
That's bold of you.
A 5th overall pick for Cam Johnson? No. I'm okay.
Bold. That's bold.
I'm
like
good.
It. We'll take an exit. That's it for today. Thank you guys. That was fun.
We'll take an exit.
Take an exit. We're out of here. I hope you all have a great rest of your Wednesday. I am stuck on to be daddy duty. I'm not looking forward to these stupid doctor appointments today. We got to do an ultrasound, and then we have to go to the doctors after. It's so fucking stupid. It's 3 hours of my life I'll never get back. Anyways, me complaining about this if my wife is watching isn't a good idea. So
Probably not.
Should probably stop. That's it for today's show. Again, like I said already, have a great Wednesday. JB, be safe. Lucas, great job on audio today. You crushed it. No mistakes. Gabby, excellent as always. Jeff, love you, buddy. We're out of here. You all have a good rest of your day.